got to be the change you want to see. We say it almost every day here on Wave Country, and sometimes you don't even know what that looks like, and sometimes you do. I want to introduce you to Nicole J. Carroll, who is the Director of Victim Services Unit, Louisville Metro Police Department, and also Megan Ware, who is here, Victim Services Specialist. Thank you all for coming here. I didn't even know there was a National Crime Victims Rights Week. What does that mean for folks that live here in Wave Country?
National Crime Victim Rights Week is an opportunity to honor victims of crime and to raise awareness about rights and services within your given community. The theme this year is directed at supporting victims, building trust, and engaging communities.
You know, I don't even really know what's going on, but for the last year, we have kind of been in the middle of a level of crime that we've not ever seen before. And I think everybody is just so, I know I am, I can't speak for everybody, but so many people are just so worn and worried about it. And we talk to families of crime, you know, so many young people are lost in all of this craziness. So tell me exactly what the Victim Services Unit does. What do you offer?
Certainly. So sort of the short version of what we do, and Megan will talk a little bit more in depth about services afforded to victims of crime in our community. But we provide support and advocacy services to crime victims and help them navigate the investigation and prosecution of their case.
Megan, I can't imagine what it's like, you know, when you have to face that family member either who has lost someone or has been harmed or something destroyed. That's an awful place to be.
It is, and when a crime occurs, we know that that could very possibly be one of the worst moments in that person's life. And so what we try to do is meet that person where they are. Every case is unique, and every person's needs are unique through that process. So we try to provide them with investigative updates and make sure that they understand the process that they've now been forced into by someone else who's committed a crime against them. And then also assess their needs so that we can do our best to meet those.
Well, I know you all work with an awful lot of people. Is this something that is well known? Like, what happens, God forbid, if I'm a victim of a crime? Do you reach out to me, or should I know to reach out to you? How does that meeting come?
Certainly. So when a victim of a crime files a police report, we receive a copy of that police report, and then it is assigned to a specialist who will then make contact with the detective or the investigator associated with the case to glean more information about the investigation itself. And then we make contact with the person that's been impacted.
All right, and if someone wants to reach out, they can go to Louisville/police.org. There's a place that says Victim Services. You can click there and start that process. So when you meet me, what's the first thing that you believe in most cases you have to deal with? I guess there must be a lot of trauma, possibly grief. I mean, so much going on.
So when someone is a victim of a crime, there may be different things that stand out to them as this is the most important thing that I need in this moment. So some of it may be navigating grief or trauma. Some of it may be safety planning. If a crime occurs in your home or right outside of your home, you may no longer feel safe to be in your home, sleeping, spending time there for fear that someone may come back or just the memories of what has happened. So when we first make contact with a victim, we are trying to assess what those most important things are and try to navigate how we can best meet those needs and make sure that that person is getting the resources that they need.
As citizens, folks who are out here, maybe we are not the victim, but is there any way we can help? Something that just us as normal citizens should be doing?
I think certainly, you know, we talk about if you see something, say something. You know, community involvement is so important in solving crime and looking out for your neighbors and looking out for your family and friends. And so what you can do to reach out to someone who's been affected can go much farther than you may realize.
Yeah, this may be an unfair question because I know you didn't bring any statistics and all of that, but how many people do you think you see in a month?
I think that might be hard to gauge, just based on the fact that it varies from month to month, based on what's occurring in our city. But I can tell you last year we served nearly 2,000 people in the calendar year. And to date, we are up 60% to victims we've served in our community.
Wait a minute. So you're already up 60%.
Yes, ma'am.
And we broke records last year. We're going to break records again this year.
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, what are we doing? I mean, I know, I ask that all the time, like, what are we doing? And I know you are there to help those victims out, but I look at our community and I say, what are we doing? I don't understand it. I know you all often work with Christopher 2X, and Christopher and I, we have this conversation all the time. And I ask him the same question. So please, say, don't think, oh my goodness, I don't have the answer for everything. But I ask him all the time, what are we doing? And he says he believes that we need to, start with the young people. What happens to a young mind? I heard that if a young person is greeted with some type of trauma or crime or something like this, that it can forever change the makeup of their brain. That is something to think about.
Absolutely. And, there's a lot of research into trauma, especially early childhood trauma, what we call adverse childhood experiences. We know that, especially as a young person, the more trauma and adversity you endure, the harder it is for your brain to function the way that it was designed to. And that can change your decision-making process, the way that you think through scenarios and situations that you find yourself in. And it can lead to a lot of sticky situations and difficult situations for a young person.
Yeah, I can't even imagine either what it does to a family. I have seen families that face trauma and they are victims, and you can see like the little threads of that family begin to just pull away. And we're going to come back. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk a little more about what you do and how we can help and maybe how we can turn this city around. We'll be back with more. Everyone stay with us. It's a topic that we have looked at and just tried to wrap our minds around what is going on in our community. Nicole J. Carroll is here, Director of the Victim Services Unit, Louisville Metro Police Department. If you did not know they have that, they do. It is there for you if you are a victim of a crime. Megan Ware, Victim Services Specialist. I just said something that made me think. When I say if you are a victim of a crime, is it just certain crimes or what are we talking about when we say that?
Certainly. So we work with victims of major violent crime. So it can be anything from arson to assault to domestic violence, sexual assault, homicide, shootings. So this unit is equipped to provide support and advocacy services to victims of all crimes.
All right. And you are there. So when someone is a victim of a violent crime, you get, I guess, a case file where you can reach out to them. Is that right?
We receive a copy of the police report. And then the determination is made as to who's going to be assigned that case. And then that person, the victim services specialist, is responsible for connecting with the investigator to glean additional information about the investigation itself and further contact information for the victim or the victim's family, and then they make contact.
So how far does that branch reach? How far out do your arms reach? Is that just the specific people or the family as a whole? What are we talking about?
I think it depends on the case. The easy answer is we can do our best to help anyone who has been affected by crime. So if you're talking about, a domestic violence victim and that incident has happened in their home, the children may not be quote unquote victims, but they're also experiencing domestic violence in the home and may need services and counseling and different things. And so those are certainly things that we discuss. If you're talking about a family who's experienced a homicide, we generally ask that one family member be the point of contact, but we know that crime and trauma affects everyone differently. And so if there are family members and friends who are feeling the effects of that loss and that trauma, we will try to do whatever we can to meet those needs.
Megan, listening to you talk about that, it's almost like a disease. Like your mom may have cancer, but it reaches through the family. So you have crisis intervention and support. Does that mean counseling? Does that mean connecting me? I know you work with a lot of people in the community.
Absolutely. So we do not provide counseling services in-house, but the great thing about Louisville is that there are so many agencies and community organizations that work with different populations to meet so many needs that fall into what crime victims need. So we know that victim services cannot meet every need of every victim and survivor. So it's important that we develop those community partnerships to say, I can't help you with this, but I know someone who can. Let me get you that contact information. Let me send you this way so that you can start to get the healing and services that you need.
Okay, so either one of you can answer this, but here's my fear. I talk to people who are maybe anxious, maybe depressed, maybe whatever, and because that falls into the realm of emotions and mental health, they'll sit with it instead of getting help because they don't want anybody to say they're weak or we put that stigma. Our community tends to put that, and there should be none. Do you find that families will take you up on that offer? Will they get that help?
Absolutely. And I think part of what we do, part of our responsibility is to build trust and rapport with that victim or that victim's family, to say, I care about you. As a person who's experienced a crime or has experienced loss, I care about what has happened to you, and you deserve to get the services that you need, to get counseling, to engage in therapy, because you deserve that as a person. You deserve to have this quality of life increased after such a terrible thing has happened.
Nicole, you said something like that a minute ago, and I can't think exactly what that was, but you were talking about making people understand that you've been through something, great. Somebody cares that you're able to heal and move on.
Certainly. One component of being a victim of a crime is being able to disclose that information to trusted people. And one thing I would strongly encourage people to do is meet people with a compassionate response.
That's what it was.
It's super important that when someone is brave enough to disclose to you that something's happened to them, that you be compassionate and understanding. And even if you don't know exactly how to meet the needs that they have, you can certainly connect them with our unit and we can help them navigate services.
All right, you all have resources and referral, investigative updates so folks can know what's going on. You even have transportation assistance, transportation for what?
Certainly. So our unit has been blessed enough to acquire vehicles. And oftentimes we know that transportation can be a barrier for somebody engaging in the criminal justice system. So whether it's a matter of trying to get a protective order or attend court or meet with a detective or meet with someone within our unit. And so we've been able to acquire vehicles so that we can provide transportation to victims of crime and their family when it's safe to do so.
And that's another thing. So many people think, I wonder what I can do to keep this person away from me, but you'll walk them through that, okay, I don't want to miss anything. You even have interpreters for those who may not understand the English language, intervention with employers, academic institutions, creditors, whatever it takes, because so many little dominoes begin to fall when you are part of a violent crime. Did I miss anything, or is there something you want to make sure people know that I did not ask?
I think you've covered the gambit.
All right, and again, they can go to Louisville/police.org, look for victim services if you need them. And again, with so much crime, it is good, and we appreciate that you are here. If there's something that needs to be done, they can help you with that. So don't keep quiet. Please reach out, and you see their faces here, Nicole and Megan, they are there. Just make sure you get these services. We got everything. Anything else you want to say before we go?
No, ma'am, just thank you for having us and sharing this information with the community.
All right, we appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you greatly. All right, everybody, hang on. We're going to step in and get a look at what's going on right now in the news. Elizabeth Pace joins us with Wave 3 News Now. Stay with us.